everyone. This is Rob Golfi with REMAX, the Golfi team. Welcome to the Golfi Real Estate Show with host Stephanie Vivier.
Well, hello, Rob. How are you? I hope you're keeping warm.
Well, I'm warm here indoors, but I do not like this weather. I did come back from a conference in Florida, and I can't believe the weather was so nice. I'm like, I don't know why. I like how we ended up in Ontario. Why? I guess the borders weren't opened up for my parents to go to the U.S. And it was funny. Like the weather is just gorgeous there. Like everybody's, you know what? I think if you have more gorgeous weather more all year round, you're in better shape. You're more fit. There's more fit. You know,
it's true. We do tend to eat more and put on weight during the holidays. It was an actual scientific study that I was reading about the other day, and it makes sense, right? Because it's like this is the time of year when we just want to hunker down and get out of the winter. I have to tell myself though, whenever I go somewhere like that, and I think, oh man, why am I not here year round? This just seems dreamy. They've got the hurricanes.
Yeah.
Right. And then they have alligators. You're just walking along, an alligator's going to come grab your leg. And they have all kinds of pests and bugs and things. Like when it gets cold, those things die off.
They got termites. Yeah, they got different things than we have. There's no doubt.
Right.
But if somebody showed me a massive alligator, it had to be more than 20, not 20, maybe 15 feet long.
Wow.
On a golf course.
On the golf course.
They don't bother anybody because golf courses have ponds and stuff like that, but they don't bother anybody. And but if they start attacking people, they'll shoot it and kill it, and make boots out of it. I guess I don't know. So, but a friend of mine, he has a place down there, and he golfs at this one golf course, and they took a picture of this massive alligator. Now this alligator. Like if let's say this alligator had to be 15 feet long or 20 feet long with the tail, but it was massive. Like there's no way a human being can take this alligator on. That's how big it was. And he showed me a picture of it. I go, are you kidding me? I go, you golf on these golf courses? And he goes, yeah, they won't. If they attack, they'll be gone. So, but they don't go after people. And it's just like, I guess, Australia with kangaroos on golf courses. So every country's got some kind of animal running around on the golf course. So
right. But, ours are just us animals that are running around on the golf course.
We were interviewing this one lady, and she's from Colombia. She's a lawyer, but obviously she has to redo the exam if she comes to Canada. And I said, why Canada? Like, I mean, you're from Colombia. And I go, like, why?
Like, you're like, are you sure you want to work with us?
Yeah, like this cold weather. How you taking it? And they left Colombia. I don't know why they didn't go to this. Usually, the U.S. is the first one people want. I think that's the first choice. I think everybody in the world, they want to go to the U.S. But I get maybe I said why Canada? And well, the reason why they left because there's a lot of corruption there. And she worked for the government. She just couldn't take it anymore. There was just so much corruption. So anyway, so they left. A lot of her family's here now. They live in I think St. Catharines it was, or something like that. So yeah, it's crazy. And I asked her, well, like how you loving this cold weather? I mean, I was born in this cold weather, but you guys came from a warm country. There's monkeys and all that kind of stuff. So, but it is tough. But the one thing I want to talk about is, obviously November's over, and I brought some stats,
we love when you bring the stats, Rob. We love when you bring the numbers.
So in November, the average price was almost $647,000, and we started. In last year of November, it was 686. So it's down from November to November. But starting in the year, it looks like things started picking up in February. So it hit a high of 707,500. And then the highest it went up to 718,000 this year in Niagara. Now we're at 647. So it kind of dropped a bit. Like it floats up and down depending on the month, depending what's happening. More transactions happen usually somewhere between March to June. Those are your big months. Even July was a big month, but the numbers, the average sale price was lower. So if you're looking at putting your house up for sale, I think definitely start thinking about it in February. There's no doubt about it, in Niagara. So sometime in February, get your house on the market, but price it right. I'm telling you, you will make mistakes. If you price it too high and then lower the price, the market's going to change. Then you're going to have to, like for instance, if I tell you, list at 700, right? 699.9, but you want to go 750. We go 750. No offers happen at 750. We're on the market for 30 days. We come back and we want to lower the price. It's not going to be 700. It's going to be under 700 now. And that's how people are losing. And we have one guy chasing the market. Not one guy, more than one guy. We got so many people chasing the market. They overpriced it. They were strong. They wanted us to list at their price, and now they're paying the price for it now. They are losing more money. If they listened to us from the beginning, they would have been sold, and they would have gotten more money. Now they're listed even lower than what offers they received 6 months to a year ago. So be very, very careful, people. I'm telling you, I've been evaluating houses for almost over 25 years. I know the numbers pretty well based on what's going on in the market, what comparables are happening, and everything else. And if you list it at the right price, you'll be sold within 2 to 4 weeks, and you'll get very close to your number. But if you overprice it, you're going to be chasing the market, and it's going to hurt you so much that it's going to be very costly, very costly. So now in Hamilton, same thing. They ended up at 741,000 by the end of November, and their highest number was 828,500, and that was in June. So June was pretty good month in Hamilton. The best month in Niagara was May. So. But it just depends. Every year it's different. Sometimes it's earlier and better. That's why I always say, put your house on the market in February. You won't miss the market. You'll capture it all the way through. Now, if you put your house on the market in February and now it's June and you're hitting July and you haven't sold, well, you just missed one of the best markets that any real estate year has. And whether and we're in a tough market now, so you got to be very, very sharp on your number when you're pricing it. So it's crazy. And I even got numbers of luxury homes over $2 million. Yeah. So
you always say those are very hard to sell, right, Rob?
They are. So in November, in all of Niagara, only 2 homes over $2 million sold.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not good. And in October it was only 2. Now we have 131 homes in Niagara that are over $2 million. And that's not including the ones that are listed at $1,999,000. So there's probably another 30 of those that are out there. So that market is tough. In Niagara right now. So if you've got a house that's over $2 million, you got to price it right. And we had one at $2 million, actually 2.1 or $2 million. We had an offer, and the offer kind of blew apart because of our sellers. They just he thought that there'll be more offers coming because we got an offer in the first, I think, 10 days. And guess what? Now we're listed under the $2 million that we got.
Ooh, that's
so
painful.
Be very, very careful, everybody. I'm telling you. So there's 131 homes right now for sale over $2 million in Niagara. A lot of them are in Niagara-on-the-Lake. I see there's a lot in Lincoln, Beamsville, but Niagara-on-the-Lake has quite a few of them, and where obviously there's a lot of luxury homes out in Niagara-on-the-Lake. But if you price it right, you're going to do well. Like, you just got to price it right. Price it, you got to look at so many different variables. And be careful. Do not look at what's for sale and base your number on other houses for sale in the neighborhood that been sitting there for probably 200 days or, you know, whatever it is. Do not base it on those numbers. You got to base it on what the market's doing, and that's what's sold. Well, and there's not much to go by on what's sold. Well, look, in Niagara, like I said, there's only 2 homes that sold in Niagara, and this is all in Niagara. We're talking over 2 million. And last year there was 3. So it is a tough market out there. So you got to be very, very careful. You got to price, do some precision pricing. And we're actually hiring an evaluator. So if you're a realtor and that's decide to get out of the business or retiring, or you're an appraiser, we are looking for an evaluator to work with me to make sure that before our agents go out to meet our clients, potential clients, that we have a precision pricing from 2 different people when they're evaluating the house. So if you're looking, you know, it depends. Sometimes agents are not good at sales, but they're good at numbers. And so if you're a realtor or an appraiser and we have a position available that we're looking for, check us out. Give me a call, and we'd want to hear from you. And you don't even have to be a realtor. You don't even have to be a realtor or a past realtor. If you're good at research with numbers, we've got even AI to help out with the numbers. So if you're good technically and good mathematically and all that kind of stuff, we'd love to hear from you. So that was a little plug there to find somebody to help us out at the Golfi team.
Well, I like that, Rob, because it's like you really want that person to specialize. And so you've got your realtor and they have their experience in the field, but then you have this sort of like second set of eyes. And AI is great, right? But you do need someone to interpret whatever AI is giving you. Like we've all been in the trap where you take something AI and then you look at it and go, well, this doesn't smell quite right. You need someone to sift through all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's go back to those luxury homes. So is it like, say someone is in the luxury market, is this a good time? Like, because, you know, you mentioned those sellers who thought, well, one offer's coming, maybe another one is coming. But that's not always the case, of course. Like when it comes to luxury home buying, do we have opportunities for deals right now?
There are some opportunities for deals right now for luxury homes. So if you're looking for a $2 or $3 million house, you can negotiate something pretty decent. You will benefit from that in 5 to 10 years from now. So right now we're flatlining, and I don't know how long that's going to last. When I meaning flatlining, the market is just floating at a certain level, between 2 and 5-6%, up and down, up and down, up and down. So and like I don't know if we're in a bit of a correction. And we could be in a bit of a correction, for instance, because last November in Niagara, the average price was $686,000. Right now we're $647,000. So see how it's bouncing. So I don't know if and we may go into another correction this year. 2026, where it might, you know, again correct itself 2 to 3% again. Down. So and it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell where the market is. I expect it to be the same as this year, to tell you the truth, in my opinion. This market's almost very similar to the 90s. The only difference is interest rates are lower, but housing prices are so high. Now, the 90s interest rates were pretty high, and at the time housing prices were high for its time, but it's actually affordable. And, you know, houses were going for $100,000 to $80,000 back in the 90s. And they stayed at that level. Like they stayed like let's say the average price was $160,000 in 1990. It was 160,000 in 1999. It just stayed. So, and I remember I had a semi I bought in 1990 for 120,000. I sold it 5 years later for 120,000. It just flatlined. So we're experiencing that, and we're experiencing that right now. So, so again, like I said, if you're buying, make sure you're there for 5+ years.
Time to commit, that's for sure. You're listening to the Golfi Real Estate Show. We're excited that you decided to commit to it. Rob's going to stick around. And on the way, there are some real estate markets that are bucking national trends. Rob's going to tell us what they are. That's on the way here on 610 CKTB.
Are you worried about selling your home on time and for the most money? Hi, I'm Rob Golfi. Every year we invest millions of dollars in our advanced marketing system, ensuring your home is seen by tens of thousands of potential buyers. We don't just hope it sells, we make it sell.
And welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivier, and Rob Golfi is with us today, the #1 REMAX team in Canada, the Golfi team. All right, Rob, so you've told us about the market this year, and things have kind of stayed the same for a little bit. You're expecting that they will into the new year as well, with maybe a little boost into that spring market. But there are some places in Canada where the real estate markets are bucking national trends. Take us there.
Yes. So I was at a conference in Florida last week, and there was a couple of agents from Montreal and Quebec, and they're killing it right now. Like, they're not feeling what we're feeling here in Southern Ontario or anywhere in Ontario, and I see it. Like, I go, like, it's hard. Like, when you see another realtor in Canada and their market is doing well and ours is not doing so well. So, they're posting solid growth while majors, like Toronto and Vancouver are dragging national numbers down. Why are these cities outperforming? What can we learn from them, and how does it give us clues about the Ontario market like that might be heading next? My theory is it's telling us that they didn't go up in value like crazy like it did in Ontario in Vancouver. Now, Ottawa, Gatineau, up 4%. Now, the only major Ontario area market posting notable gains, Gatineau, the Quebec side, is driving the growth with -6 appreciation thanks to affordability. No, +6% affordability, and buyers crossing from Ottawa for lower price points. So people are leaving, going to Ottawa to Gatineau. Now, Ottawa growth is steadier. 2 to 3%, supported by stable job markets. They're all government jobs there, so they don't see much of a recession like anywhere else, if there is one. Now, Montreal up 7%. The largest city in Canada is seeing real estate price appreciation, strong affordability compared to Toronto. Average home value around $734,000, which is huge, nearly $400,000 cheaper than Toronto. Economic resilience despite U.S. trade tensions and rapid rent increases. So rent is increasing rapidly, so that's probably pushing renters to choose home ownership. Now, Halifax, prices cooled post-pandemic but have roared back to all-time highs, driven by interprovincial migration, one of the highest in Canada, low unemployment, 6%, and tight supply keep prices valuable. Now, bottom line, these markets show that when affordability, strong migration, employment stability intersect, prices can rise even when national markets are flat. It's crazy. I was jealous when I was in that conference, and I was talking to a buddy of mine that in Montreal, and he's doing very well. But I don't expect that to last long for those guys. I think it's going to change, and because if there's too much competition, too many things happening, eventually it's got to stop and it's got to correct itself if it goes up too fast, too high.
So you won't be opening a Golfi Ottawa office anytime soon, then?
No, we're staying close to where we are right now. Not during this market. So it'll be about 3-4 years, maybe 5 years from now, if we even think about it. That's it.
Yeah. You pointed out, some interesting things. That Ottawa market, they have the government jobs, a lot more stability there than when it comes to, job markets, as opposed to other areas where we get that concern. And, whether we are having job losses or not, you just get like people are more afraid. They're not maybe making the changes and maybe buying the houses that they would be otherwise. The Montreal, though, of it all, that is a surprising one, because that city, more similar, I guess, to like a Toronto, like a smaller Toronto. You've got the, education institute, some government as well there, but just interesting to see.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I remember this in the 90s, Ontario was suffering so hard during that economic time downturn, but Vancouver was thriving.
Hmm.
That was back in the 90s. Now I don't know what the reasoning for that was, and I owned a property in Vancouver during that time. And my Vancouver property, it was a condo just on North Vancouver, just off of, if you're in Vancouver, you take the C bus to North Vancouver, just on the other side of the bridge. I owned a condo, and I knew that condo appreciated while Ontario was kind of flatlining or depreciating. And and I think so. This could, but it did change eventually. It didn't, they didn't have such a great market forever. But it's almost like the same thing is happening in Montreal, in Ontario. Like Montreal is experiencing some great times. You go there, realtors are doing very well. Everybody's selling, and people are buying, and so it's doing really well, and especially with the rental market going up and the interest rates are down, so and the price point is affordable, you're going to get people looking at buying houses, and so all the dynamics work for a first time buyer in Montreal right now.
Yeah, and then let's go to Halifax. That's the third place there out east. And this has been a trend that we've been seeing for a while, where people are actually making that interprovincial trade, interprovincial move. They're moving, to get those more affordable places. But then those prices themselves, like those places, aren't as affordable as they were certainly pre-pandemic.
Oh, absolutely. Now, Halifax, for people to move to Halifax from anywhere across Canada, they're probably people that are able to work at home. And because it's not like I don't think there's many jobs in Halifax as there are in Ontario or Montreal or Vancouver or even Calgary. So that's why it's grown, but it's not growing crazy, but it's still a good market. And they're doing well. They're doing very well out there. And our market in Ontario went up too much too fast. And now it's correcting itself. And once it's corrected, then things will start turning around.
Yeah, that idea about correction, I think, is pretty important. And, when you talk about people who can work from home, that's not always, they're going to change a job, or they get let go by their job, or their job decides to call them back in the office. They're going to have to get rid of that place real quick.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. And that's happening right now as we speak. A lot of people are being forced to go back to work, and they bought outside. So they bought in Niagara, especially people that work in Toronto. They bought in Niagara, Hamilton, Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloo, Guelph, and even in Barrie, Ontario. Now these people are forced to sell. Now they bought in a high market, and now they're selling in a market that's in a downturn, and they're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity from this move now. So now they bought a house in these outskirts of the GTA, and now they got to sell it. Now they're moving back to Toronto. They can't afford to buy a house in Toronto now, and they have to rent because they've lost so much money. So it's hurt a lot of people that are moving back to Toronto because they want to be closer to work. Like I honestly, I wouldn't want to drive an hour and a half to 2 hours every day to go to work. It's not, I don't think it's good mentally, and spending three to 4 hours a day traveling just to work, and then you get home on a Friday night, all you want to do is sleep the rest of the weekend. So yeah.
And then that's when the kids' activities are, and they want you to drive them here and there all weekend.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's crazy how different markets are doing well in the same country that, and other markets are struggling.
All right. Speaking of markets that are doing well, you said you were just down in Florida, and prices there could be going up. Ron DeSantis has a new plan to eliminate property taxes.
Yes. So very controversial, the housing ideas in America right now. So Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is pushing to eliminate property taxes on homeowners. And I'm not sure if it did get passed. I think it did. Sounds great, right? But no more paying what he calls rent to the government, which is a great thing. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like everybody's taxed like crazy. So obviously they work their numbers out. Ron DeSantis I'm sure he's got people specializing in numbers and seeing how that goes. Now, But a brand new analysis suggests this move could send Florida home prices skyrocketing by 7 to 9% overnight. Great for current homeowners, but potentially devastating for renters and first-time buyers. So the one thing is, to me, I think this is more of a, a quick kind of satisfaction, like instant gratification, but in the long run, it's not going to change anything, you know. So, so for instance, like home prices would immediately jump 7 to 9%. Okay, it does that. Then once it's done that, now we're at a level playing field. Now we're going to get used to, you can buy a place in Florida, and you don't have to pay property taxes, which is great. I do think property taxes here in Canada are expensive. I think they overcharge us, but for some reason, our politicians are not that good at managing the books. So who knows? But anyway, so over here it says home prices would immediately jump 7 to 9% as lower ownership costs get priced in. Florida total homeowner housing wealth would rise by 200 to 250 billion instantly. So, so you're going to get, maybe more Canadians buying down there to live, and you may even get people across America moving that way. So, who knows? So, but renters and first-time buyers would suffer. Higher prices make ownership even harder. That could happen. There's no doubt about it. But I just think
we've seen that here.
Yeah, like it would it for us here. Let's say an average home is 4 or 5. Let's say 3,500 to 40 to 5,500 for taxes on an average home a year. So in 10 years, you paid $50,000 on a house that you live in, which is a lot of money. Like that's like that's a mortgage alone, or yeah. So. So they say rental properties would be. They said rental properties would not be exempt, meaning landlords would face higher taxes and pass those costs to tenants. So basically, if you want to buy as an investment property, you're still going to pay taxes. So the tenants are not going to get the break because they pass that down. And Alice warned that the plan shifts Florida tax burden towards renters and lower income residents. So economists also warn of major long-term risks. If national recession hits, Florida could see a flood of second homes hitting the market, dropping property values, shrinking tourism revenue, and a budget crisis due to the loss of property tax. Now, the one thing is, Florida is going through a tough time right now. A lot of Canadians are trying to get out of their houses.
Yeah, and that's what I think of when you say this, when you tell the story. Like, is this something that people might have Canadians rethinking that decision, or is it, because I think they're making that decision twofold. The dollar is weak, and it has been weak for a while now, and of course the policies in the U.S. people don't feel welcome there as a Canadian.
Exactly. So, and I think Governor DeSantis is trying to get the people to come back and stay, because there is an abundance of homes for sale there. You can probably get a really good deal there, but I mean, I'm not like, to me, to own a place in Florida, I think it's even cheaper just to rent something for 2 months on an Airbnb or whatever. Find somebody that'll rent it if you wanted to spend 2-3 months in Florida. I don't know if it's worth owning a place and not only using it like for, I don't know, a month at a time, like maybe even a month. Like I know people that own. A friend of mine, he owns a property, a condo in Florida. He hasn't gone in 2 years.
Yeah.
So like, what's he paying? He's paying the taxes. He's paying insurance and everything, and the cost to maintain that is expensive. Now, he usually stays about 4 months. So if you look at it, if he goes this year, let's say he didn't own anything, he goes this year and rents a place for 4 months. Let's say the rental is, let's say, $3,000 a month. So it's going to cost him $12,000, maybe US dollars. Okay, so that's maybe 12,000, maybe 15 to 17,000 Canadian. So if you break that down, the cost with condo fees or maintenance and everything else, it kind of breaks even. But then you're not tied. You're not worried about hurricanes, because they don't pay you that much. So for instance, I was just talking to a guy. He has a place in Florida. So you have a house in Florida, and there's a hurricane. Let's say your shingles are 15 years old and you have 20-year shingles. So let's just divide. Let's say that's $10,000 to put shingles on your roof. Well, because you've used up 15 years of that shingle, and you got another 5 years left, they're only going to give you $2,500 insurance.
What?
Company.
They only give you the years left of the shingles? No way.
It's below. So the one family, they're Canadian. They say it's tough because it's always maintenance. It's always every hurricane they're like praying because it costs them money. It's a financial disaster. Like unless you own a condo. Now condos are getting reassessed because they got to check to make sure they're structurally sound. I know they have a luxury condo. They had to pay $100,000 in assessment fees because they got to check the balconies because of the salt water. It could corrode.
Right.
So think about it. You wake up one day, you're paying your condo fees, and now they call you and say, hey, we need $100,000 from each residence to help pay for inspections and fixing things up. What? You know what?
You got the wrong number.
Sorry, you got the wrong number. And that's what everybody does with Revenue Canada now. This is Revenue Canada. Sorry, I don't believe it's fraud. Goodbye.
My clicker go, Rob. I go, this must have been fraud.
Yeah, there's so much fraud out there. You can blame anything to fraud, and people will understand to say, okay, yeah, I guess. I go, you want to talk to me, you have to come to my house and then show me your ID or whatever.
Government ID for sure.
That's it.
Got it.
But yeah, like owning properties for yourself, personal residence, if you're there 2-3 months a year, I still think, I don't know. I still think in the long run, owning a property is great, but it just depends how many months you stay there. If you're there for 6 months, and great. If you're only there for a month, it's not worth owning a property. 6 months, yeah, I could see it owning a property in Florida, but you got to look at the pros and cons about that. Now, could they do that here? What would happen here in Canada, in Niagara? If they said no more property taxes, that'd be fantastic.
We'd be dancing naked in the streets, Rob.
Absolutely. But you know what I mean? Like people be having, would it boost the market? It would boost the market a bit. I don't know if it'd boost it 10%. I'm going to be honest. But I do think it'll generate people to buy a house, and hopefully they don't reverse it. But that shows you. So 2 things happen in the U.S. That shows you that, one, Trump is eliminating federal tax on people that make $150,000 or less. And then you got DeSantis getting rid of the property tax. And so that means there's a lot of money there for them to be able to do this.
Well, and then you have to talk about the services that are going to be cut, though, right? And that's the other part of it. And we'll continue talking about that in just a moment. We're here on the Golfi Real Estate Show. Rob Golfi with us today, 905-641-0308. Not fraud. No, call that number. It is real. Rob's going to stick around. Hope you will, too. This is the Golfi Real Estate Show, 610 CKTV.
I know the importance of hiring the best agents.
I'll take a photo of your house and post it on the World Wide Web.
Next,
our multi-million-dollar marketing system reaches tens of thousands of potential home buyers every day.
Go to robgolfi.com and put the best team to work for you.
Welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivian. Rob Golfi was with us today. Really interesting stuff today, Rob. You brought this story to us, what they're doing in Florida, where they have proposed some changes to the property taxes, and the 4 proposed constitutional amendments are still making their way through the process in terms of how that would be. But it would cut $14.1 billion in the first year from local governments if it does go through. And they're saying, the people who are sponsoring this bill, that even taking $14 billion away would still be $3 billion above spending levels in 2020. So essentially they're saying we've had a real spending problem. And Rob, you brought up the really interesting thought experiment. Like, what if we did that here? I think there's a lot of us, especially now because it is budget time. And on my main show, we talk a lot about the budgets that are being passed around the region. And, this one's up 1.6 and this one's up 4%. And then you've got the region budget, which is not going to come in at the 3.5 that they were looking for. So I think there's a lot of us that would like to take a closer look into the books of our local politicians and how things are being spent.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Like every municipality and city, I don't know how they're running. They know they're in debt, but they keep doing the wrong thing. Like it just like Toronto's been in trouble for who knows how long now. It's decades, and in other cities and municipalities, they're struggling, and I don't know how the money is being done. So you got Hazel in that passed away the last couple of years in Mississauga, and she ran a good ship there, and I don't think there was hardly any debt there, and so she really cared. She really followed, and that's why she kept getting voted back in. She was a mayor for, I don't know, she's probably the longest running mayor in North America. Probably, I think it was over 30 years or whatever. And she ran a good, clean ship financially for the city. And but other areas doesn't seem to know how to manage the money, and then we keep paying as consumers more and more. And like you said, they're raising the taxes of the houses. They're raising, the budget for, we need more infrastructure, police, firefighters. And it seems like it's constant taxed. And, and our income tax is heavy. We're heavily taxed as a country, more so than probably any other country in the world. And how long before it comes to a point where you can't afford it? Now, I know in Canada, if you're a small business entrepreneur and you want to become successful and a millionaire, it's harder in Canada than it is in the United States. The same effort, you get the same person with the same effort and knowledge in the U.S. and Canada. The U.S., that person will succeed far greater and become a lot wealthier than he would in Canada. It is that much harder in Canada to succeed with all the taxes, all the regulations, and everything that's put up against any entrepreneur in Canada.
And yeah, all the more impressive when people do. Just looked up real quick here, Rob. Hazel McCallion, yes, longest serving mayor of Mississauga. She held her position for 12 consecutive terms from 1978 to 2014. And of course, we called her Hurricane Hazel, which is so great.
Yeah. So that was 9. Did you say 9 consecutive?
12 consecutive terms.
12, and each term is 4.
Yes.
4 years.
Yeah. So 1978 to 2014. Think of the change. Where were you in 1978 versus 2014, right? The change and she was a mayor. And at that time, I mean, I think she was 90 something.
She was 90. She was 90.
Yeah. She was 101 when she passed away in 2023. So, she was like 90 years old when she retired, quote unquote, retired.
Can you believe that? She was a mayor for over that's 40 years then. No, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
I don't think you'll ever see that again. People loved her, and she did a good job for the city, and she got voted. Nobody even ran against her. Nobody even wanted to run against her.
That was it. Why would you, right? It was a losing adventure. No one, and who would want to say something bad about her? That's the part about politics where it's like you need to attack your opponent. You need to say something that they're doing incorrectly. So they would have had to sort of attack this at her last term running 86-year-old woman.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? And everybody knows that she does a great job. So why would run against somebody that, everybody likes, and she's taking care of the city and she's managed everything pretty good. So, but now, she's gone. And so I'm sure there's always going to be new people every, 4 to 8 years. It's tough to stay mayor. I mean, who's the longest running mayor We got Diodati. I think he's in his third term, or he's in his fourth. I think.
I think yeah, let me see here. Yeah, I mean, here in the region, we have like some really long-standing politicians, for sure. We had Mayor Walter Sendzik of St. Catharines, and he ran for 2 terms, and then he decided to not, like he kind of decided that on the outset.
Yeah, and
he's only going to do 2.
Yeah, and Jim wasn't sure he was going to run the third term because he was fighting cancer, and I mean he was in a hospital when he was campaigning for mayor for the 3rd time, and I think now he looks healthy, he looks strong, he's back on track.
He's always working out. Yeah. 4th term, he's on his 4th term.
He's on his 4th term right now.
Yeah, and
then before that it was Ted Celsi, and he ran about 3 to 4 terms also.
Yeah.
So like in Niagara, and I know Niagara Falls, it seems like once somebody gets in, they seem to keep going. Many terms. I know Diodati beat out Ted Celsi. He beat out Ted Celsi. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a loyalty there here in Niagara for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to talk about Bill 60 because this is something that definitely made it onto Niagara in the Morning as well, that we talked about a lot as it came through, because there were a lot of people opposed to Bill 60, groups saying that this is not good for renters, and there are some changes. So Rob, why don't you tell us about what the changes are? Because I think, people maybe aren't paying much attention if they're not renters or renting.
Right. So Bill 60 targets chronic delays at the landlord-tenant board. Now, where cases often take 1 to 2 years, which was ridiculous, to be resolved. Small landlords say this allows professional tenants to exploit the system, which they have. Now, refusing to pay rent, delaying hearings, or demanding massive cash for key payouts to leave. Now, the article highlights, this is an article, a single mother in Whitby who can't move back into her home because tenants have delayed her landlord-tenant board case for 2 years. So a Toronto condo owner whose retired parents plan to live in her unit, but the tenants refuses to leave unless paid $25,000. It's ridiculous. It had to change. It got so ridiculous, so one-sided, and see these tenants pushed so much and got away with it. Now, see, you push too hard, eventually those days are gone now. Those days are gone. So now, Small Ownership Landlords of Ontario, representing 8,500 small landlords, say Bill 60 will shorten timelines, reduce abuses, and allow landlords to reclaim property for personal use without reasonable barriers. Now, tenant groups, however, remain concerned the bill could shift too much power to the landlord and the property management companies, enabling evictions for profit. You know what? There's a lot of good tenants out there. They pay their rent, and there's a lot of good landlords out there. They take care of situations, especially if a property is managed by a property management company. They go by the rules. They take care of it. If there's a problem, we have a property management company, Golfi Property Management. We take care of things right away. There are bad landlords out there. There's no doubt about it. Just like there are bad tenants out there, but there are professional tenants out there. You have to be careful, and be careful now. Here's the things. We don't have much time here. Faster landlord-tenant board decisions. Bill 60 aims to shorten evictions and dispute timelines for up to 2 years to 2 months. So reducing financial losses for small landlords. Yeah, the landlords were losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Protection from professional tenants. This is where it's really bad. Helps landlords deal with tenants who intentionally delay hearings, refuse to pay rent, or demand large payouts to move. There's a lot of that. That was a lot of that going on. Now, more rights for small landlords. Landlords needing their home back for personal use, divorce, family care, retirement, could regain possession of their home. Now, more confidence in the rental market could encourage more small landlords to stay and re-enter into the rental market. They realize this, and I said this. If they don't take care of the landlords, there will be no single-family homes, small landlords buying as an investment property, and everybody's going to end up living in apartment buildings. And who wants that? Now, the negatives of an advocacy of perspective. Fear of more evictions. Yeah, there will be more evictions because there's a lot. And the reason why there's more evictions is because tenants aren't paying the rent. So it'd make it easier for landlords to remove tenants, especially long-term tenants. Now, risk to vulnerable groups. Seniors, low-income household, and newcomers could feel more housing insecurity. You know what? Yes, there's seniors that they've been there forever. I have a tenant. They're paying very low rent because they've been in there for 10 years. But I'm not kicking them out. They're paying their rent on time. Guess what? They don't want to get kicked out because they know if they start shopping around for another place, it's going to be at least $500 to $800 more a month rent. Potential for misuse. Some worry landlords may falsely claim personal use to terminate leases and re-rent at higher prices. Yeah, that could happen. There's no doubt. Increased tension between landlords and tenants. The bill may deepen mistrust about whether the system prioritizes fairness or speed. So they needed this, and it eliminates the bad. It eliminates the bad on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's been long overdue. And like you said, Rob, there's some bad apples on both sides. And it seems like it was some of those bad apple tenants that really forced this legislation to come into play. But we do have the Golfi team to help us out. So if you are renting or looking to rent, always a great resource. Rob, always a pleasure to speak with you. I learned so much, as I always do. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Rob Golfi with the #1 REMAX team in Canada, the Golfi team. Call them today, 905-641-0308, 905-641-0308. Online, robgolfi.com. That's GOLFI.com. Thanks for listening. This is 610 CKTB.